So let's wrap this project up. We're going to add a few more details that left us and a few fixes. First of all, I got rid of a lot of stuff, and most of the stuff was pretty much encumbering the whole game. So I took rid of the whole visualization of where you can go, and because pathfinding in all the nodes that we can walk isn't exactly ideal, and if you check even if in XCOM, in games like that, there still is a bit of a strange pathfinding, or as far as that is concerned. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of it. We just left this thing. So we pretty much see how much we can walk by the pathfinding itself. Okay, we're still going to have going up ladders and all that. We're going to fix and write some better code for when climbing up ladders, and we're also going to add the obstacles we had, since we forgot to add those. Okay, so they provide actual cover, and what we're also going to add is we're going to add up and down going with the floors, and we're going to add also death behavior, so you can actually shoot people and they will die. Okay, well, let's try and kill somebody. And at this level, it might be a little bit rough, the state of the project, but it's pretty much a great starting point if you want to create your own game, since I imagine you probably want to add your own models, your own levels, and all that. Okay, and of course you can expand. It's a great way to, and a great starting point. As you can see, he is dead, so we can actually walk now on his tile. Okay, even if it's just a red, so we just haven't closed that, but we can fix it. Okay, just like that. Okay, so we're going to make a good starting point to start any game. Now, let's go directly to the scripts, and let's see with my changes. So, I think it's better if we go, on the World UI Manager. We're calling this from inside the unit controller. Let me go find not the unit controller, the unit node manager. So basically, this kinda is useless right now, the unit node manager. Okay, so as you can see, I've cleared almost everything, and from what I can see, it's just simple stuff over here. So we're probably going to get rid of them altogether, since they do not actually provide anything. So just comment all this stuff out, and on our World UI Manager now, or when we are calling the find available movement nodes, we're no longer calling any coroutines to pathfind to any neighboring nodes, since they do not exist anymore. Okay, we just assign the current unit, and we just use get neighbor nodes, and we do not want 10 by 10 nodes. Okay, we're just going to do 5 I think it's enough. So after that, I remove all this, and we're still going to use the validate node. I think no, we're not going to use this anymore, so comment this all out, and it will be best if you only comment this, only this. Okay, no more validate node as far as the neighboring nodes are concerned. And with that, we still need to do a few changes on the player interaction. Okay, player interactions. When we are checking the populate path of active unit, okay, this is the callback we get from the pathfinding, from the multi-threading and all that. We're checking the previous paths. Okay, we're clearing the current path, we're clearing our short path, all that. So one more check we're going to do is check the available distance. To check the available distance, we'll get an integer and we are going to check if the available distance starts as the basic move distance with our double move distance, but if we have less than 2 actions, that means we cannot move on double move, so we clamp it into only the basic move distance. Okay, if we have less than 1 actions, that means 0 actions, we cannot move anymore, so okay, the path is invalid. And then we continue on. Okay, we passed calculate move AP costs and all that. Okay, everything else stays exactly the same. Over here we had our movement cost. As you can see, we get rid of this. Next, on our player UI, we want to add the, let me open the scene. We want to add the change floors, but we already added one for the level editor. We want to add one for inside this level. Okay, so it's these 2 buttons, and we're still going to use let's actually go to the canvas. Unit, panel, floor, up and down. Okay, player UI, change floor. So we're going to our player UI script and we're calling this function, and we have a boolean if we want to go down or up. However, we need a reference to the level manager, of course, since that holds all the objects for our levels, and we start with a target +1. Okay, because we want to go, we suppose we start and we take it so that we want to go on the upper floor. But if we say that we want to go down, we simply change the target to -1, so we want to go 1 floor below. We find our the current floor we are in, and we add it into our target. So if it's -1, it's going to be the below node. Of course, we need to check if we are over the available floors we have, or if we are over 0, unless you want to have sub levels, so you need to do stuff a little bit different over there. So if we are going down, we need to close the object holder, and the M collider is what holds the actual tiles for our floors, and it actually holds our collider also for that floor, and that is a problem. Okay, so what I did is I separated the collider from this object, and we will see where I did that. But for right now, all you need to add is just close the object holder, so you close all the models for the top floor, and you also close the floor for the top floor. Okay, and we assign the new floor index to be our target. The opposite, if we're going up, okay, instead of assigning first, we assign first the index, and instead of closing the objects, we now open them, we enable them. Okay, for this to work though, so this will work, but you basically want, if you are on an upper floor, okay, you want these guys to be able, not really these guys. So if I end the turn and I change floors, I go from here, and okay, you want to be able to aim somebody that is on an above floor when your mouse is over it. Okay, so what we have to do for that is we want to separate the collider for the floors. We do that in the grid base. Let me remove the bookmark so do not get confused. So we do that in the grid base, where we create the actual mouse collision. We're going to create, first we need to go into our level manager, into our per floor objects. Okay, this holds all the floors now, and this holds our actual collider. Okay, we need to add that into our list of floors. Back to the grid, to the grid base. inside create mouse collision for that floor. We now create a new game object that we assign only the floor. We do it this way. You can add it elsewhere if you want, but I think this works just fine. And then we go and add it. We change the name so that we know what it is, and then we also go and assign the collider actual to the new game object where we added the collider. Okay, and the new game object we have created that doesn't have a collider, it's only going to be a holder for our floor. Okay, and this has only to do with how we handle floor changing into the game scene, not in the level editor. We're going to do a little bit different stuff over there. Okay, now let's see the actual level editor now, and we're going to do that in the World UI Manager. Okay, so yeah, not over here, wait a minute. It was on the level manager, on the change floor, which should be somewhere over here, I suppose. It's not. Let me find it. Player UI, change unit, move unit. So, on our grid base, but not the grid base we use inside our game, on the grid base that's under the namespace of level editor. Okay, we have the previous function, which was change floor button. Okay, and the same if we're going up or down. If we're not going up, then we want to add we're checking our index if we can actually go up, and what we're going to add over here is we're going to add a boolean that checks if our session master says we are in level editor. Now, in theory, since we only use this inside the level editor, this might be redundant, but let's just keep it just in case. Okay, so if it's a level editor, then we also want to open the collider actual for the above floor we have created. We are going from a below floor to the above floor that we have previously closed. The opposite of that will be the exact opposite. If we are on the level editor, then also close the collider actual. Okay, and this ends everything that has to do with changing floors. Now, let's work with our units. Unit states, we're going to have public boolean if the character is dead, and if we have initialized death, although we might not need this. I've also added a health, and on start I initialize the health to 10. Okay, and I also have a function called deadUnit, which when the unit dies, it's going to close the UI holder for this unit, so you no longer see his above his UI element. I crossfade to the dead animation, which is just an animation with no transitions, so the only way I can move over here is if I crossfade to it from any other state. Since this is a turn-based game, it's pretty safe we can do that. We probably can crossfade from any other state without having any problems. And we have a new function into our game manager, which is under the namespace player interactions PI. Okay, kill unit, and we pass this state manager. Let's see this. Kill unit. We pass the states, the unit is going to die. We return the player ID, so we want to have the player base basically. we remove the unit from that player's base unit, a list of all units. We change the ID, although it doesn't matter much. We set the current node that is walkable. Okay, since it had a unit before, that means that node was walkable. We say to that node there is no unit upon it anymore. We get all mono behaviors that that unit had, every script we have on him, and we also need to assign the animator in a variable. We close all other mono behaviors and we reopen the animator. Otherwise, if we do not reopen the animator, then the death animation is going to play. It's not going to play. It's going to play the first frames, and after that, it's going to make him feel like it's stuck. So, to return the player with ID, I've created a new function. Okay, player base. We pass an ID, and it will return you that list. That player base entry, okay, in our list. Simple stuff. We have seen them a lot of times before. Now, how do we actually, kill the player? How do we remove health from somebody? How we're going to do it? We're going to do into our combat master I'm going to create a new function which is going to be a public static float, and we're going to say calculate damage and apply. We're passing the attacker and the defender. Of course, I'm only going to do basic stuff. You can add calculations based on distance. You can add multipliers and all that. The way we've talked before about chance to hit, you can do chance to damage, you can add penalties for armor or the opposite and all that. Okay, I'm going to leave all that up to you, since there's no point going to very specific stuff. That's why I got rid of a lot more other stuff we have done in the previous videos. Okay, it's not a problem, we have done it. In any case, these are supposed to be tutorial videos. Okay, so we are here to learn stuff. If we end up using them or not, that's another whole point, and it depends on a case by case, and that case is probably your game. Okay, so I'm going to keep on more general approach into the videos we make, just because there's no point in going into much of a detail, since everything we do can be so much customizable. So back to our calculate damage and apply. Okay, we have a target value of 3. That is the base damage we can do to somebody. We run a random range, a random value basically we want. Okay, from 0 to 100, and then we say if the random value is less than 90 and the random value is less than 15, so I guess you can add them both over here, you can add them together. Okay, we will take it as a critical miss, so target value equals 1. Else, if it's higher than 90, that means it has 10% of being a critical hit, so target value do 5 damage. Okay, so we remove that directly from the defender's health, and we check if the defender's health is 0 or less. We assign it as 0, and then we say he's dead. Okay, and this is how we calculate the damage. Of course, you could want to expand on this, as I said, and where we call this, we call it from where we are playing the particle inside the unit controller, if you remember. Okay, we had our coroutines that were rotating the character and making him shoot and all that. So I did a little bit of restructure in this. Everything is the same. But if we are actually hitting, if the event says that it's a hit, okay, where we are playing the damage animation, we're also calling to the combat master and we say calculate the damage, and we're passing the two states. Simple enough. And previously I wait for 3 seconds and disable all the previous booleans. Now I've added before you close the animation, since because we have the AK2. Okay, just wait 2 more seconds and close the aim animation. And that's how we can handle, we can have damage into our players. Let's see a few more other fixes. I think the only thing left to do is check the rotation. So we had a bug when we are moving southwards, or basically it was the directions that were the problem, not really southwards. So these guys, when they are moving like this, when they were ending, they will rotate and look back. And the other problem with the rotation was that if you are going upwards and then jumping down, if you were doing something like this, then he was rotating in the middle of the air and he was looking towards the next node and the next node. Okay, so to fix those, we are here first. We fix the first one. So check node for cover. We forgot to add previously our own position, so we're only taking the forward node. So we were always taking the 1-0 node. Okay, so it's not what we want, so we need to add the forward position. We find the target direction, we find the X and Z, okay, and we set the X to be the exact opposite, since the direction, or you can swap this around, okay, since this will return us the opposite. And then we find the directions, okay, one by one. Target covers. If we are moving diagonally, we see how we have over here. I didn't change anything of this. We find the cover that has the most cover, the side that has the most cover. And yeah, after that everything remains the same. Okay, so the only thing we had to basically add was this. And yeah, I think I had a vector 3 over here, so I changed that too, and I changed it to this thing. Now, another thing I've added is into where we were doing our calculations for the hard direction, and we will see this. And let me find it actually. Okay, I've added a little bit of offset. So if the X or the Z is not 0, previously it was taking it, even if it was 0.1, it was taking it so that you have to rotate. Okay, that wasn't exactly hard direction, that was basically never look straight. So what we did, we check if either the X or the Z is greater than 0.5, so it's actually closer to being on the, to add the direction, and only then we add to the return value. Okay, so we basically added these two if statements. Now let's change the way we handle the rotation, and I think that is the last thing we have to do. And yeah, so over here we're calculating the direction we need to face to. What we did now is we are checking if the direction is not 0, get the next path, get the next node into our path if we have one, find the node, find the short path position probably, find the new direction, next node. Okay, we are using this direction. We basically need to take out the Y we're taking the next node, and so on and so on. However, if the direction is 0, only then apply transform.forward. So basically, it's more of a restructuring than an addition, because we already had this before. But yeah, a little bit of refactoring so that it works better, basically, or actually it works right now. Okay, and it can handle more cases. So with that, I think we have finished. So yeah, I think we're done. We have covered a lot of stuff in this series. We're still not done. I'm still going to do updates on it, but I might I want to do some other stuff first, so we can continue. Just keep the interest and keep making other stuff and other stuff. But yeah, you're probably going to, if you're a patron, you're probably going to see the other stuff sooner. So we have pretty much everything. We have a level editor, we have our own levels, we have a way to load new models, so our players can create their own levels and then export them and all that. We have combat, we have turn-based, we have action points, we have health. We pretty much have almost everything. So it's the best starting point, I think, if you want to jumpstart your next game. This is, if your next game of course is a turn-based game. Okay, I think we are at that point that you can handle everything else by yourself. We're still going to, as I said, we're still going to add new videos to this just a little bit later. And yeah, we're also going to add AI sometime in the future, and some other stuff that I'm not gonna say anything because I don't do promises. So you know what to do: like, subscribe, and of course, if you like the work we're doing over here, Patreon or Gumroad. And yeah, this project is probably going to be available this week or the next following days. Of course, yeah, if you are not a patron, then this project is already available. So I'll see you next time.